BSR Pockets, BSR Hot Rod, BSR Momo, BSR Jova, BSR Scar, BSR SR5, Eddie D, featuring BSR Wings, Bubba J, Vince Conway, BSR Rugrat, Gear, Big Vito, Palmion, Randy C, musical guest, BSR Mayhem, and your host, BSR Texan. Ladies and gentlemen, BSR Texan.
All right, welcome back to the Spotter Stand, everybody, coming at you live once again. We just wrapped up another great week of racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Getting ready to head into Homestead. We got all the news and updates from last week's racing for everybody. We got another great crowd in the booth with us tonight. Eddie D, Hot Rod, Pockets, Palmian, Randy C, and Rugrat joining us in the booth. How you guys doing?
I am
Doing
doing good.
Doing good.
Great to be here.
Hey, you're great.
Doing good.
So it means something it's like a whole new thing when you hear that Randy C at the end there.
Yeah, it does. I
yeah,
like that.
Yeah. It stands out a little bit more after that first win. Randy C getting his first win at BSR just yesterday. Last night in the Saturday Night Team Series, running that as an independent. Randy C picks up his first victory. Great job. Getting a little bit early, getting ahead of ourselves here, but that's usually the last night we talk about. But I thought I'd mention that, bring that in. And, while we're talking about first wins, several others. One that apparently I glazed over a little bit here, and I think it deserves a little mention. The rookie, Palmian, recently picking up a victory here at BSR as well, also in the team series just a few weeks ago. And Eddie D recently picking up a victory here as well. So it's great to see, some of these newer drivers. And, Randy, you've been around for a while, but you've been hunting that win for a long time. That was good to see, as well as seeing some of these newer guys get the wins.
I know Pockets, correct me if I'm wrong. 2016?
Golly, has it been that long? It doesn't seem like it's that long.
I think it might well be. I'm not sure. 16 or 17, one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. I mean, I guess it has been that long. And I know that you, for example, you're on a limited schedule. I mean, you don't get to race as much as a lot of people do. So, due to work and family stuff and stuff like that. So, yeah, it will affect your chances to be able to get that elusive first win. But I'll tell you, and a lot of people will agree with me, once you get that first win, the rest of them seem to come a little bit easier and more frequently. So, congratulations, man. That's a good deal.
Now, I know we've been talking about, the wins these last couple of weeks, but look at all the new winners this year, period. We also had Rugrat with a hangover.
That's right.
So us young bloods are coming.
Yeah, you talk young blood. I have 55. Yeah, okay.
Into the league. He's talking about into the league.
Of course, in Palmian's case and Rugrat, they could be called young blood, especially Rugrat. Palmian's only, 35?
35, that's correct.
So,
yeah, but them two, especially also young bloods, because that was the first racing you've done is when you came here. Am I correct, rookie?
Absolutely.
The same with Rugrat. She didn't hardly race anything at all before that either. So, I mean, she played around a little bit through the years as a youngster, but serious wise, that's the first racing she's done too.
Yeah, I bounced around a couple of different leagues before I ended up here. So, yeah, I guess that's true.
Well, let's get right into last week. We raced Atlanta all 3 nights, Truck Cup and Xfinity, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. Let's jump right into Wednesday night's truck race at Atlanta. This was only our 3rd race of the truck season. Trucks don't have nearly as many races. We were off for a couple of weeks, raced some dirt. We're back into the asphalt here for a little while in the trucks. You can see we raced Atlanta last week, and coming up this Wednesday night, I started to say tomorrow night. I'm so used to doing this on Tuesday. This coming Wednesday, we're going to be at Homestead. Homestead moved from the end of the season up here to close to the beginning of the Truck and Cup and Xfinity series. So we'll be at Homestead Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night this coming up week. At Atlanta, on the other hand, it looks like myself that took the pole, and try as we might, we just couldn't put an end to BSR Mayhem's streak of taking victories here. He took another victory on Wednesday night in the Truck Series at Atlanta with a great setup. I mean, he had an awesome setup. We had some great racing Wednesday night. I know there was a lot of side-by-side there. Mayhem was able to run on the outside of me and stay even with me in the corner, overtake me when we came off the corner and got on the straightaway. And I really wasn't having to lift much at all on the bottom. You know, Atlanta in the trucks, you can run it pretty much full throttle. And he just had a great setup. We were side by side, lap after lap. A lot of great racing, and it was Mayhem coming home with the victory on Wednesday night. Let's take a look here at our race results from the truck race on Wednesday.
This Mayhem with the win. Texan second, Gear third, Pockets fourth, and Hot Rod rounds out the top 5.
Gear Jammer with a 3rd place truck. He had a great truck, good run on Wednesday night for Gear.
Yep, I couldn't catch him. Oh yeah, that was a good finish.
I had a better truck than where I finished. I shot myself in the pits and freaking killed me.
And Palmian, that was the night you had to work late, huh? I don't see you on the list here. You didn't make that.
Yeah.
Night he worked late.
I didn't manage to get in until about a third of the way through the race. So it is what it is.
Let's go take a look at Thursday night. Thursday night in the Cup Series. There we go. Thursday segment 1. So we're now 5 races in to the Cup Series here at Atlanta, and we were finally able to end Mayhem's racing win streak here on Thursday night. He had a great car, put up a great run. Mayhem did get the pole on Thursday night at Atlanta, but it was myself who brought home the victory, my first victory in the Cup Series this season, 2020. So glad to get that one under my belt there. Race number 5 finally got me a win in the Cup Series, added a bonus point to my bonus point totals, and it was a pretty good race again Thursday night in the Cup Series. Let's take a look here at our results from Thursday night's race.
Yes, Texan with the win. Mayhem second, Hot Rod third, Pockets fourth, and Eddie D rounds out top 5.
Hot Rod, you had a good car Thursday night, man. You were really, you led quite a few laps there, and there was some good racing up there. Me, and Mayhem were switching back and forth several times. A lot of great racing in this race.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? We're going to check out. I forgot the point standings in the Truck Series. So we'll take a look here at our standings in the Cup right quick. 5 races in, and then we'll go back. We'll take a look at the standings in the Truck Series, just 3 races in. So it looks like I do hold the lead here in the Cup Series points by 11 points over Pockets, 19 points over Hot Rod, 27 over Eddie D. And look at there, tie for 5th place between Gear and Palmian, both down by 31, with Mayhem right on their heels, down by 33 in 7th place.
What's up, Donald? Happy birthday, Donald. Donald out in the chat. Today's his birthday.
Hey,
Yes, happy birthday, Donald.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Vito.
Happy birthday, brother.
It's a tie for 5th place. Palmian, you're right there, tied with Greer Jammer for 5th place.
Yep.
out there.
Greer.
Yeah,
Old Greer.
Jim.
Greer Jimmer.
Old Greer.
Yeah, man, we're coming into our own. We're the Gear's next to win, and then Vito if we can get Vito in. So, yeah,
Yeah, and your old nemesis there, Eddie D, only 4 points ahead of you at the moment here in the Cup Series. So you're still right there with Eddie and tied with Gear Jammer, 5 races in. Let's go back over, since we missed the truck point standings. Let's go back over the truck season right quick. Take a look at how those points look. Looks like I've got the lead there. Pockets again in 2nd place, only down by 9. Hot Rod in 3rd, down by 17. Eddie D in 4th, down by 18. And Gear in 5th place, down by 19. And Palmian missing that race. Boy, that hurts you in the points. You were right up there, and now you've dropped back 2 spots, down to 7th, back by 57 points.
yeah. You know, it's all right though, and we all got to miss him every once in a while.
I'm sure my day's coming. One of these nights I'll be closing, and I'm just not gonna make it.
Yeah,
Or he'll fall asleep in his recliner and not wake up.
yeah. That's true.
He's good for that once a year.
Yeah, I did that at least once last year.
I'm not mistaken. I believe it was an Atlanta race. One of the Atlanta races you missed. I know
Well,
it was early in the year.
I think we only run Atlanta once in the season.
Yes,
But
we
yeah,
did.
it possibly could have been. It could have been that one. But if I remember correctly, Rugrat was still.
Broadcasting.
That's right, and I came in and
You
helped her out.
joined with her. Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Take a look at Friday night in the Xfinity Series here at Atlanta. We're also 5 races in to this Xfinity Series here in Atlanta, and it looks at Hot Rod took the pole, and look at there, Eddie D, BSR Eddie D, gets his first win in an official series here at BSR. Great job, Eddie D. Eddie Mayhem, after that Wednesday night race, he was gracious enough to share that awesome setup with everybody. And I downloaded it that night after I left the race and completely forgot to switch and put it in when we come up to Friday night. And I raced the same setup I had in there on Wednesday night. Eddie D, on the other hand, didn't forget. He had that setup in there, and it worked very well for him. As I remember, we had several green flag pit stops in this race, and SS Joba would come out with a 3 or 4 second lead over Eddie D after pit cycles, and they were both running pretty much by themselves for most of those runs. Eddie D able to track SS Joba down by 3 seconds before the next pit stop, basically catch back up with SS with that setup of mayhems he had in there. And
Yeah, I would reel him in and get right on his bumper, maybe a lap or 2 before pit stops.
Yep, and I was a lap down for most of this race, and I was behind them and pitting behind them, and Eddie was 5 seconds behind him at one point and caught him as pit stops came. and I was running them down to get my lap back every pit cycle. I'd gain about 5 seconds on them both, and then I got lucky enough that we got a late race caution, and I got back on the lead lap and made it interesting for a little while.
Yeah, that last caution was just it was a late race. I think there were only what
9 laps.
9 laps to go when you went green.
No.
I thought it was less than
There was
that.
a caution before that, and I got back on the lead lap with about 20 to go, 22 to go, somewhere around there. I know it was inside. It was inside the pit window because everybody could make it on fuel from there.
Do you
Well,
remember on
The last caution we got was 9 to go.
Yes,
But it went
Yes,
green with
the one-
about 5 to
the
go,
one-
correct?
yes, but the one before that's when I got my lap back, and we were all 3 wide, battling, swapping the lead.
Do you recall, Eddie D, do you recall where you restarted on that final restart of the race?
He started in first.
So you did restart in first?
Yes, I did. I got a slow restart though, and Palmion and Joba actually got out in front of me, and I was able to catch Joba going into 1. We went through 1, coming out of 2. I gave him a little chrome horn action, bumped him a little bit. We got side by side on the back straight. Went into 3, coming out of 4. I drifted up a little bit. I think I pinched him into the wall a little bit because I couldn't hold it down, and rode it out for like the last 3 laps.
So you
Yeah, it was a fantastic, race to the checker flag from where I was sitting.
did he just say he manhandled SS Joba?
Oh,
Yes,
he
he
manhandled the hell out
Oh,
of
yes, he was all over him.
Yeah, that ain't an easy thing to do. SS Joba, he's a contender, man. He's a great driver, great racer. Not easy when he's got a good car. It's not easy to beat him. So good. That was an awesome job, man. Great job on the win there.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Donald, I appreciate it, buddy.
Oh yeah, and I was sitting back there. I didn't really have a dog in the race to finish any better than where I was, man. But I was just back there. Me and Eddie, yeah, we're rivals, but he'll tell you, yeah, all of them will tell you, I'm back there going, Eddie, don't let them take that from you, man. Go get them.
Well, let's
Yes, he was definitely my cheer section that night.
let's move over here and take a look at our race results from Friday night's Xfinity race at Atlanta.
It's Eddie D with the win. Joe was second. Hot Rod third. Rookie was fourth. Texan rounds out top 5.
SS Joba led 100 laps.
Yes, he
And
did.
he dominated.
Good job,
the race.
Eddie D. I hated that I missed that, man. That's a fantastic thing. So tell us, how does that first win feel?
Oh, it's something totally different. I mean, you guys have been telling me, since I've joined with you guys, that I would probably get my first win in the team series. But knowing that I actually got it outside of the team series at Atlanta in almost a one-on-one battle with Joba, a veteran of the league, it to me, it's just phenomenal. I've still been tripping ever since that win.
And that is a very tough track to win at. Atlanta is one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. So that wasn't a fluke. I mean, you hung in there. You've taken your hits. Just stuck with it and everything like that. Persistency pays off. And so congratulations, man. That's a fantastic thing.
Mr. Eddie D, I am going to tell you that I got my first point series win at the same track in the trucks, the same way you did.
Yeah, picking up a win like you just said outside of the team series is your first win, especially when you haven't been racing nearly as long as most of the rest of us here. That's an accomplishment, winning outside of that where you've got to manage your tires, and actually, do some lifting and whatnot in the corners. That's definitely an accomplishment. That's not an easy win to come by right there. So yeah, great job picking it up fairly early in the season. You know, and that's another thing that goes to all of the drivers here. If somebody's got a good setup, fast setup, they're going to share it, and that gives other people opportunity to try that set out. If it works good for them, make some changes if they need to, but to be more competitive with the rest of the league. And hats off to Mayhem for sharing that setup after Wednesday night's race, because it was really fast. And
Yeah, I want to publicly say, thank you to Mayhem for that, because I've actually ran the set you had in there, Killa, and I ran Mayhem set, and I practiced before the race, and off of Mayhem set, for me, the way I drive, I was actually going in and coming out of the corners between 2 and 4 miles per hour faster than what I did with your set. That's what sold me on that set, and I think that's what made me a contender on Friday night.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'll always share my setup. I'll put a setup in there for every track, and sometimes it's a really good fast setup, but sometimes it's not the fastest. It might be a top 5 or
Well,
a contender.
Killa, I'm not downing your setup in any way, because these setups, in a lot of cases, it depends on the driver how they drive that particular setup.
Yeah, that's right. But there's no doubt. I mean, that setup Mayhem put in there was absolutely faster than mine, because, like I said, in that Wednesday race, he was passing me on the outside. I could get down to the bottom of him, and if I did manage to pass him on the bottom, he was right back by me on the very next corner. So, yeah, I'll always put something in there for everybody to drive, but sometimes somebody else has got a better setup, and when you're able to get a hold of that, that's the great thing about here. Is the fastest guy with the best setup is willing to share it with the rest of us.
Speaking of Mayhem, he just dropped in here with us.
How you doing, Mayhem? We're just talking about you and that awesome setup that gave Eddie D the victory on Friday night. Eddie D took a win Friday night at Atlanta with that setup you shared with everybody on Wednesday.
That's awesome. Congrats, dude. That's a way to get your first win.
It. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And like I've already told everybody, I wanted to personally thank you for dropping that setup. I mean, it just gave me that edge that I needed.
Hey, man, that's awesome. I am so happy to hear that, man. Yeah, I wish I was there last night or Friday night, man. That would have been another good one. But, dude, that's awesome. Congratulations.
So let's take a look at how our points have rounded out here. 5 races in to this Xfinity Series. Looks like I hold the lead in this one too. 13 points over Hot Rod. Pocket's not in second place here. Pocket's missed a race. You missed a race in this series. You weren't there Friday night, were you?
I was not there Friday night.
I was used to seeing you in second.
Coronavirus issues.
You didn't have it. You just had issues at the grocery store with other coronavirus scares.
It was the rice and beans.
Yes. Hot Rod in second place, down by 13. Eddie D with the win moves up 4 spots to take over third place, down by 19 points. Gear in fourth place, down by 20. And Palmian, look at that, fifth place, down by 22. Yeah, that's a pretty great job. Moved up 4 spots with 1 victory there, Eddie D. In third place. You're in the podium spot right now in the point standings in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I'm enjoying every bit of it. I mean, just hopefully my luck holds out and there's more to come. And if Mayhem keeps sharing his setups like he did, I can pretty much say there could be another 1 or 2 out there this season.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't access the file browser anymore. My bad. But I am, well, because of this crazy coronavirus, I am off this week, so I will be at Homestead, Miami for the whole week, and I am super excited.
I got a feeling you're going to be at a bunch of races.
Yes, sir. They said at
That's
least
what you
postpone a week
do.
or two, and that doesn't even before we get started. And so, who knows what's going to happen. So at this point, I am here for the lock, which is great.
Well, that's good. We'll have you.
Yeah,
have
by
you
the
out
way
on
it looks, we'll be doing more racing than NASCAR will.
I think we already
Yep.
have been.
That being said, ladies and gentlemen, share your streams with everyone. You want your NASCAR racing, feed for the week? Come see BSR.
I didn't stream anything this last week. I came into most of the races late. Didn't set up my stream. When I came in to set up the spotter stand, it was still on the spotter stand from last week. So that was the last stream I did. I'm gonna have to remedy that this week. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose all my viewers, or I'll be over there watching pockets.
Yep, that's where I went.
That's a good view. You can see all the cars.
Yeah,
Exactly. See all the cars
Oh,
that
he
are in the
went
race.
there. He went there.
I kid because I care.
Mayhem. I know you missed at least part of the story, man. But that set you gave Eddie, I mean, he tracked Joe Button down all race long, man.
Yeah, we had green flag pit stops in that race, and SS Joba would come out ahead of Eddie by several seconds, 3, 4, even 5
5.
seconds. Eddie D, during the course of a fuel run, was able to track SS Joba down with that setup. So, yeah, it definitely makes a difference when guys are willing to share good, fast setups like that.
Yes, and he was faster than me on the long run. I was faster than him on the first couple laps, but he was faster than me on the long run for sure.
Yeah, the truck setup lasted the whole time. Did you have 65 tape on there, Eddie?
No,
No, he-
actually, I took it down to 60 because of the heating up in the first few laps.
Right. It calms down because you slow down, but I get it. But I like that it shows that I'm not running no crazy shit. It's all in the setup. I learned that when I got some crazy setup from a former member here, and I went to another place we were still racing at and dominated the race. And I'm like, holy crap! Like I would never run this well at this track, and it's all in the setup. And I just sit and tweak and come to practice early and try to figure out the little nuances, man. I was related to music and recording and trying to EQ something, and you got 100 bands you can turn up and down to try to find, just little fine little adjustments, and a shock, a sway bar, to how it relates to this or that. I mean, that's what it all comes down to, and trying to find how to adjust it throughout the race as well. And I'm glad it worked for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm giving the credit to, Mayhem, is you and that setup.
Well, you gotta, as they say, you gotta first finish to finish first. So you gotta give yourself some credit for being out there, not wrecking the thing, and being there when it counts.
Yeah, because there weren't many cautions. Let's go back over here to the race results here and take a look.
3, I think.
Two cautions for a total of 8 laps in that race. I think we had one semi early in the race, and then we had the one caution late in the race, and that was it.
What happened to your car, Texan?
That caution early in the race.
No, actually, that wasn't. I was thinking maybe caution early in the race because of what had happened to me, but that actually didn't cause a caution. I had 2 separate incidents, and neither one of those caused a caution.
Both cautions were late. One was around 29 to 25 laps to go, and the other one was with like 9 to go. So
Yeah.
they were all late race cautions.
I had to make a last minute adjustment to try to miss another car, and I ended up getting loose, spun down in the grass, hit the pit wall, had a little bit of damage basically, and the car just wasn't the same after that. So, yeah, just one of those races. wasn't a great race for me. I beat Gear Jammer.
It ended up blowing up, didn't it, Texan?
Beat
No,
me.
no, it didn't end up blowing up. I didn't finish the race though. I did at that last caution. I decided to just go ahead and pull over because I was not on the lead lap, wasn't really racing anybody, and car wasn't 100% anyway. So I just got off the track with it.
I just got called a nobody. Love you too, Texan.
Well, I wasn't really. I didn't say nobody. I said wasn't really racing with anybody. You and me were on the same lap though, weren't we?
We were nose to tail. I couldn't catch you even with your damage, and I had like none. So
You were having trouble in the corner, I believe it was, and you were, you'd catch me on the straightaway, but my car being damaged, I didn't have to lift at all going in through the corner. I was just able to full throttle down through there all the way. Even at the end of the run, when one's tires were worn a little bit, I could still just full throttle it all the way through the corner. But yeah, that was a great race. 2 cautions. Eddie D getting his first win. And if you look here at these results, I was mentioning it earlier, led 13 laps on Friday the 13th. So, and he was just mentioning his eldest daughter born on Friday the 13th in March. It all came together for Eddie on Friday night, man. And we couldn't congratulate you enough on that victory right there. That was
and it was 130 laps, man. That number 13 is just everywhere that day.
I think we know what number he's running next year.
Very possible. Very possible.
That's the number I originally wanted to run.
So let's go over to Saturday night team series. We ran race number 8 of season 40. We did run at Talladega. And Saturday night, we got another brand new first win at BSR. BSR Randy C. taking the victory in the Saturday night team series. Yeah, and it's one thing to get a win in this series when you got teammates helping you and pushing you, but when you're not even on a team, just in there running as an independent, and every other driver in that race was on a team. So, great job on Saturday night, Randy. Congrats on that win.
Yeah, good
Thank
job,
you.
Randy.
Thank you
Cool,
very
2
much.
first timers in one weekend. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Saturday night was a little bit of extra dramatic there because Gear Jammer was also right there pushing for his first win as well. There was a little bit of an incident. When it comes down to the last few laps at these super speedways, there's always going to be some blocking. That's just, it's going to happen. That's the only way you can keep another driver back there is to try to get in front of them when they've got a run on you. And Gear Jammer was coming up toward that inside line there on the next to last lap. And,
Momo was pushing him there. He was definitely getting there.
Yeah.
Randy, when they came down, Gear would have probably won that race.
Yeah, so either way, it would have been a first-time winner, whether it had been Gear or had been Randy. Randy been shooting for this win for a long, long time. So, Gear's got his coming. I'm sure he's got his coming here pretty soon. It was good to see Randy get this victory. It feels great to get that win, especially when you've been hunting one for so long and finally being able to pull it off. So, congrats again, Randy.
Thank you very much. I gotta tell you this. I got 2 cars, 2 cup cars I use. This one here, the Midnight Moon car. I'm sorry, I don't like it. I hate it. It's a terrible car. I've run it in 5 races. I've only finished 1 before now. The other one I've always done pretty good with, the Stray Cats car. And I've been kind of going back and forth using each one. And this week just happened to be this car's turn. And I thought, well, we'll see what happens. And I turn around and win with it. And I'm like, it should have never happened. But I was concerned about the end there because I didn't know if I got into got into gear, or gear got into me. I was not sure. That thing went around. I wasn't at all sure. Um, I was worried I didn't get it. You know what I mean?
That would suck to have your first win taken away. I mean, most of us in here have had a win taken. I've had a win taken from me.
I
Uh,
have.
Larry has. Pockets has. Most of us have had a victory taken away for not claiming a caution at some point during the race, and that one was tough, man. I mean, it was right on the edge there of maybe you moved just a little bit late, but when it came down to it, gear didn't really get you in the quarter panel. It was more in the corner of your bumper, so I think it was called a racing deal. That would have been probably one of the most disappointing things there, hunting a win for so long, and you finally got it, and man, it's taken away from you, over something like that. So,
Randy did move a little late, later than I would have liked to have seen him move, but he was definitely in the right, not in the wrong. So gear just had absolutely no time to check up.
yeah, he had no time, and Momo, like you said, was pushing him.
Yes,
Pushing him right up through there. So, yeah, it's tough sometimes at these super
Yep.
speedways, but it wasn't just a victory. You had to work for that. Before that last caution had come out, and we even had the restart. You had it sewn up because we had some green flag stops, and you were running with myself and SS Joba. We all three went into the pits together. You had a great pit stop, came right out with us, and SS and I had already decided, well, we got a good lead in this series. Let's push Randy here to a victory.
User disconnected from
And
your channel.
that caution come out at the end, and we were going to restart with just a few laps to go. So that changed everything. But you pulled it off. You got it done. But you did do a great job during the rest of the race. Nailing the pit stops and staying with the lead draft.
Usually that's Randy's downfall, is his pit stops. He usually doesn't pit very well, but this Saturday night he had all his pit stops down, got them all nailed good.
That was the thing too. I've been working my butt off on the pit stops.
That's
And
where it's at.
And if I can get on pit road good, I'm good to go. But doesn't always work that way. But Saturday night was just amazing because that last pit stop, I went past Joba coming out, and I'm like, well, this is going to end up real good, So I figured as long as I didn't mess up on the track, it was going to be a good night. So I was not expecting to win, but it's amazing. I still really haven't processed it all yet. So, but it's awesome, and I can't help but thank everybody, all you guys have been a part of this for me, and I totally appreciate it.
Yeah, even after that last wreck, I was surprised that you still got that, because that literally took out everybody. I mean, it was right at the front. Everybody was nose to tail, and every single car in the pack was spinning one way or another. And you were the one that managed to get it straight first and get headed back across the start finish line. I remember Gear was actually on his roof. He was on his roof down by the pits, and I was going down to knock him back over when he let me know that his motor was just completely gone. And so I backed up and went around and got back on the track, and who was it? Momo. Momo came out of nowhere. He was down in the grass trying to recover and coming back up on the track, and I didn't see him at all. There was a car up ahead of me. It was SS Joba. He was smoking and trying to make it to the start finish line down low. So through the smoke, and then Momo's car was hidden right behind my roll bar. I couldn't see him at all until he literally came up on the track, and I nailed him I mean, just nailed him.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, Texan, I was far enough back and was running slow enough from the previous damage in the first wreck that we had that I was able to come and drive right through that, and that's how I was able to pull off a 5th place finish for Black Car Mafia.
Well, that was the other thing too, because my car never left the track. I basically just U-ed around
Did
a
a
couple
360,
times, and it was pointing the right direction. When I got done, I just dropped it down the way I went. I figured I didn't even know where I finished. It took me. I'm like, my name still says number 1.
Yeah, I think
I'm
I
like,
pointed that out to you, Randy. I'm like, Randy, I know you're talking, Randy, but Randy, look, you won this thing, Randy.
yeah.
And it took you a minute just until you were like, wait, what? And you looked over and like you're like, oh my god.
You have to understand, though, for as long as I've been doing this, and God love you, Pockets, you've been great to me. I would have never put money down on any time that I would ever have won a race. Never. And so, and I'm here just to have fun. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I enjoy racing. So when I kept looking up there and it wasn't changing, I'm like, he's telling me I won. And I'm like, what? I mean, you could have scripted it better.
Yeah, I think what it was is you had seen Eddie in front of you, when you guys crossed the line to officially take the caution, and you didn't realize that he was a lap down at the time.
Right, exactly. I didn't know what to think of it. I really didn't.
Well, let's go
Well,
take
Randy,
a look. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm very happy for you, man, and it means the world to me and it means the world of all of us when we can provide a good, honest group, and it's the people that make it worth so much. You know what I mean? And winning here means that you've won in a place where integrity and loyalty and respect and things like that are honored. So that makes that win even that much more special. And thank you for being a part of the group that makes it what it is, Randy.
Yeah, everybody here has been great to me. I've learned so much. But in the end, it still had to be me nailing the pit stops, and just doing the best I can. And this one just happened to work out the way it did. I couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. Congratulations, buddy.
Yep. Gear, I see you
glad
out
to
there
see
in
you
the
get that
chat.
win, Randy.
See you out there in the chat, Gear. You almost had it Saturday night, man. You almost had your first win. And it's coming. It's coming, buddy. You have some good pit stops next Saturday night. I don't care what team you're on. You're in the lead draft. I'm going to be behind you. And I'll be glad to push you to that first win on Saturday night. Maybe you can.
Here's the thing with Gear, Texan. I don't
Gear-
know if you've seen it or been paying attention, but he got that new steering wheel, and since he got that new steering wheel, his game has upped big time.
Oh yeah, I have noticed. He's running a lot better at a lot of the tracks. If you can see from
Everywhere.
his finishes at Atlanta, he ran a lot better at Atlanta than he has been at some of the other tracks. And Gear is one of the ones. He's just as likely to pull off what Eddie D did and get his first win at one of these ovals. That it's not a super speedway. He's liable to pull it off this week at Homestead.
That's what I was just going to say. I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking about Gear winning his first race at Homestead next week.
I hope you are there. Hope you are there, Gear. Hopefully we'll see you Wednesday night in the trucks at Homestead. We got Homestead all week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then we'll be back at Daytona, back in the trucks next week in the team series. Let's take a look here at our results from the Saturday night team series. Randy C. Pulling off the
I left
victory.
his name up there on purpose. You see that?
I see that. Well, he's not on the team, so that's he got the win. Led 12 laps in the race, brought home 47 points, and Looks like Aftershock was the first team to finish. Aftershock ends up pulling off a second place. Palmian pulling off second place there for our team. Aftershock
Yep.
bringing
And then
home.
Yeah, I was the first one to collect myself out of our team, even with a semi-blown motor. I couldn't go any faster than like 50 miles per hour for the longest time, and thankfully, we went under caution.
And then Momo finished in fourth place for the Trump 2020 team, bringing home 41 points for Trump, and Eddie D bringing home the fifth place for the Black Car Mafia. Just 2 races left to go. Aftershock had a pretty good lead with 3 races left to go, and I would imagine that's extended a little bit here now.
Yep.
So with just 2 races to go, that is going to be tough for these other teams to make up some points. Let's see what the standings are now. Aftershock with a 20-point lead over the Trump 2020 team, 26 points over the Black Car Mafia team. Randy C in there on the point standings in the team series. Randy, you've been in a lot more races, showing you 311 back, because usually the way these points are edited are only for the teams, and any independent drivers' names are normally taken out of there. But you got that victory, you had to leave you in there. So but yeah, that's 20 points. I mean, it's not out of the question, 20, even 26 points, but every one of the Aftershock cars, even if
You got to finish
everybody
dead last in both races.
if everybody shows up and you have 8 other team cars, Randy's in there, that would be 9. So if we finished in 10th place in both of those races, either one of these teams actually could make that up, because you get points for the win. And if you win, if you
Bonus
lead,
points, laps. And all.
yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I stole the bonus point for the most laps led on Saturday night, just so you're aware.
Well, even though you weren't the first finisher for your team, that still
I
takes
stole it from you.
That's right. That takes that bonus point away from anybody else. So, if you can do that, whether you're the first finisher for your team or not, at least you keep another team from getting that one more point,
Yep.
So let's go take a look at our bonus points. As they stand, 5 races in, 3 races into the Truck Series. Truck Series are going to be the first bonus points up. And it was Mayhem pulling off the victory and moving himself into the race winners box on Wednesday night in the Truck Series. That would be Mayhem's first bonus points on Wednesday night, the one for the victory at Atlanta. That was his first win in the Truck Series, first bonus point finish in any of those races. So Mayhem moves himself over into that totals box there with 1. And it looks like I lead the bonus points in the trucks currently with 4. BSR Scar right behind me with 3. Pockets, Momo, and Eddie D have all got 2 bonus points. And now you got Mayhem in there with SS Joba. Both have a bonus point as well. So we're coming up to Homestead. Maybe we can add another winner's name to this box here this next week at Homestead. Let's take a look at the Xfinity Series. Will be up next. Xfinity, this has actually been a great, really competitive series here in the Xfinity this year. We've got a different winner for every single race. Pockets at Daytona. Mayhem is taking a win. Eddie D with the win now. Myself with 1 win, and Bubba J with the victory at California. So every single race we've had a different winner in this Xfinity Series. So that shows some great competition out there. No repeat winners yet on Friday night. 5 different guys in there with bonus points for wins. And you've got a pretty good list going over here now in the totals bonus point box. But it is Pockets. Pockets with the lead here in the Xfinity Series. 4 bonus points. Just 1 bonus point ahead of myself and Bubba J, who both have 3. Gear Jammer, the only driver with 2 bonus points currently in the Xfinity Series. Several Mayhem, Momo, SS, Hot Rod, and Eddie D, all with 1 bonus point here in this series. And Gear Jammer doing a great job here. Gear, I hope you're still out there listening, man. I know this last, Saturday night, I could be a little discouraging with what happened, at the end of that race, because you were right there, as we were talking about earlier in the show. You had an opportunity there for your first win as well, and just some unfortunate, it's really unfortunate the way everything turned out and went. But I really just hope you don't let that discourage you, because you are doing very well, in all of these series, and especially this Friday night series. You're right there at 2 bonus points already, 5 races into this series. I mean, you stay with this series, you're going to be right up there in bonus points with the rest of us, and you got a legitimate shot at a championship come the end of the season. And by the end of this 2020 season, you'll have a lot more races under your belt. You'll be a lot more used to that setup that you got there with the wheel and everything, and your racing is just going to be that much better by the time we come up to the chase in all of these series. But you're competitive right now, and like I said, by the end of this season, with all the rest of the races under your belt and that much more experience on all of these tracks, especially as we come into the chase, most of the tracks in the chase are repeat tracks, tracks we've run once already earlier in the season. So you've been there, you've ran some races at it, you basically know how your setup's going to be, what you might be able to do to change it, improve on it. And I just hope you don't let that discourage you, because like I said, that victory is coming. It's going to get there, and that kind of stuff happens to all of us. So hopefully we'll see you on the track this week, and you'll put that all behind you, and you'll have a great week. So 2 bonus points here in the Xfinity Series. Like I said, you're right there with the rest of us. So don't let that Saturday night incident discourage you, and hopefully we'll see you back in there this week. Let's go take a look at the Cup now. Cup Series bonus points. We have had Mayhem pretty much dominating this series with 3 victories. SS Joba has 1 at Daytona, and then I've got 1 victory in there as well. But once again, it is Pockets. Pockets dominating the bonus points so far in this series, with the bonus points in the AK, bonus points again at Daytona, and the shootout with those other 2 bonus points. Pockets up there with a total of 5 right now, and next closest to him is SS Jobel with 4. So 3 points to Mayhem, 3 points to myself. That's right, Pockets leading the bonus points in 2 different series. At pretty much all, we're coming up close. We're not quite there yet. I guess we're halfway to the halfway point. 5 races in, but the first in the, we're almost halfway to the half. We're halfway through the first segment of the Xfinity, or close to it. 1 more race will be halfway.
Well, yeah, Xfinity. Yep. Xfinity's right on the border. Got 2 races to go in Cup.
I think Pockets is bringing back the old school. Pockets, I've noticed for several years there, Pockets, he sort of relaxed his racing philosophy, I think, because, and I remember talking about this last season. Pockets was, I know he was a faster, more competitive racer than he was actually showing and giving on the track. Pockets and I used to have battles. I remember battling with Pockets at some tracks like Texas and other tracks, and he used to race up at the front more, and it seemed like the last few seasons Pockets is more got to where he would just be content running at the back of the field, hoping to miss a caution or miss a wreck, and just to be there at the end. Whereas I know he could be running up there at the front if he wanted to. So I think this season maybe Pockets has changed that philosophy a little bit. It seems like he's obviously doing well in the Xfinity and in the Cup because he is leading the bonus points in both of these series. So, keep it up, Pockets.
I tell you, it's very interesting. With the group has changed a little bit, and with less drivers, then your strategy changes. Used to, when you had a whole lot of drivers and a certain percentage of them caused a lot of issues, you had to adjust for that. Now we have a few less drivers, but a lot better racing because of it, because these guys don't really make a lot of mistakes. You have to, the days are gone where used to with a big field, you could pretty much guarantee that a full fuel run was just simply not going to happen. So you had to adjust your strategy to that. That has completely changed. The deal is now is the full fuel run, or maybe 2 or 3 of them, is what's going to happen now. And we've seen that with Larry and several other people who are now playing where fuel mileage strategy means a lot much. It means so much more. Tires mean so much more. It's the strategy has completely changed. So what you're seeing there is just a decent racing team trying to predict how these races are going to fall and changing their strategy as the race unfolds. It's basically what's happened here, and it's the racing has just improved to the point to where the racing, and what I mean by when I say the racing is improved is competition. The competition has improved, and it's changed everything. We've had to change our strategies and stuff like that, but we're trying to always consider those things when we enter a race.
Well, it's working for you so far, and I mean, you know how much these bonus points mean come down to the end of the season. As we saw last season in the Cup Series, 1 point made all the difference. So, that one bonus point can make the difference for you come chase time.
You can't just ride around the back no more. You get that big long run, them guys are gone, and you can't catch back up.
I just realized something also. No, I've been harping on NASCAR for moves that I think are idiotic and bad for business and bad for racing and bad for the fans. But I just realized something while we were discussing this, and this is one of the great things about the spotter stand is when you come in and you discuss things, you realize certain things that maybe you didn't realize before. Tell me, what is the last track this year? Where's the finale at?
Phoenix.
Fuck Phoenix.
So it goes from, I love Homestead. I feel like I'm pretty good at Homestead. Phoenix, not so much. But, and so the only super speedway race is Talladega still in the chase?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. I don't know why they don't make the. I would like it if they made the last race. Daytona
is in the truck chase this season for us, I believe. So you have Daytona and Talladega in the truck chase.
That's good. That's very good. I mean, throw a super speedway in there. Make sure you got one of those. So, yeah, I mean, strategies changed, the schedule's changed, the group dynamic has changed, and so you have to adapt to those things. You have to at least take a serious amount of consideration and apply it. At least in my philosophy, I mean, because we are here to try to do the best we can, and that's just part of the things that you have to do is take all those things into consideration and then apply it to each race and each track.
Yeah, so finishing up at That does change things around and make it tough when you finish the season at one of the tracks you like the least. One of your least favorite tracks, one of the ones you just seem to struggle at all the time. If you can manage to go into that track with a lead, that's gives you a little bit of cushion there. But even still, you're still going to have to at least pull off a decent finish, even if you go in there with a lead.
Well, and another thing too is to look at it like this: as long as you're within 2 or 3 points, 4 points, maybe even 5. I mean, if you can stay connected and keep that going and go into that last race, no matter, for me, example, it's one of my worst tracks, you still have a lot of things that can happen. And as long as you keep those bonus points close, and as long as you keep the points close in the last 10 races going into the last track, I mean, if it's close, that's going to ramp the competition up amongst the contenders. And when do you make the most mistakes, or when is, you know what I'm saying? When the pressure is on to perform, that's usually when a mistake can happen, and a mistake by someone else could lead to a championship by another person. So you have to go in there with a certain amount of aggressiveness, but you have to be very careful not to make any mistakes.
Go ahead, Larry. I know what you were fixing to say.
Texan blown 14 across in the championship.
Yeah,
whether
it's
self-inflicted or game inflicted, that's
It's
still a
just-
mistake.
As soon as Pockets
Click,
was
click.
as soon as Pockets was talking about, a mistake can make all the difference when the pressure's on to perform. I'm like, oh man, I almost made it through a whole spotter stand without anybody mentioning fourth gear being blown. And I knew that was coming. I knew. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. That's like something like a driver blowing fourth gear in the last race of the season can change everything.
And see, so it is important. It's very important to, this early in the season, do what you need to do to stay close in this race, and then do what you need to do to stay close in the very next race. You look at each one of these races, because it's all going to matter when we get to Phoenix. Everything that's happened in each individual race is going to matter where you're at. So you want to try to race smart and keep yourself in contention for, you go into the chase, and then those last 10 races is where you really ramp up everything and try, because like I said, how many times have we been to the last race and the points are close? One blown fourth gear could mean a championship for another person. You have to stay engaged and attached to it, and be there when it counts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and sometimes it's not even necessarily a mistake, or a combination mistake, and you doing the right thing, making the right decision on the track as well, because that last race of the Cup Series last season, I mean, that the drama in that race was just crazy. I know we've talked about it before, but I had that championship sewn up. I was leading the race. I had a great car. Ended up blowing, fourth gear. And once that happened, Momo moves up to, he's enough spots ahead of me, and he's running well in the race. Looks like he is going to take that championship, because Mayhem's car wasn't really that great during most of that race. But toward the end of the race, he made some changes on one of the last pit stops, and bam, his car comes in. All of a sudden, his car is running great, handling great, and Momo makes a mistake, and then Mayhem moves up and ends up taking the championship by just 1 point. And I think Momo was only 1 point, 2 points behind me. So the top three only separated by just a few points after the last race of the season. And the way it just changed from who's going to get that championship throughout that race came down to other drivers making mistakes, and Mayhem making a good choice with some changes in his setup at the end of that race, getting his car tuned. So, yeah, I mean, I love it when it comes down to that last race and that drama in that race and who's going to finish where, and it's changing throughout the race as to who's going to take that championship.
And here's the other thing, Tech. 1, 2 bonus points would have made a huge difference at the end of that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember last season, I don't think I took a win at all in the first segment of the Cup Series. So it was 13 races. I didn't have any wins. It was the second segment before I finally got a victory, and I did
Got your first win.
Yeah,
But then you got a couple of them in a row.
Yeah, I did get several in that second segment, but just one win in that
In the
first
one
segment would have made it a
made the
tie.
difference.
It
Yeah.
would have made it tie, and it would have came down to second place finishes at that point. So, yeah, one bonus point here can make a difference at the end of the year for every one of these series easily.
Yes.
That's why it's I keep pointing out Pockett's leading right here because, I mean, that's a big deal. Leading these bonus points, having a little bit of a lead going into the chase can make all the difference.
Absolutely can. That one bonus point can make a difference. That's what I was getting at. And he's sneaking to winning and getting a bonus point. That could be a huge difference for him in the end of the season.
All right, so before we get out of here, one more time, I would like to congratulate all of the recent
New
winners
winners.
here. Yeah, Palmian, a couple weeks back in the team series, great job, and congrats on the victory. Eddie D with the Friday night victory at Atlanta, awesome job. And Randy C picking up the recent win last night in the team series. Congrats again to all you guys for getting those victories.
Yes, congrats to all our new winners in 2020. Rugrat,
Rugrat hangover.
Palmion, Eddie D.
Good job, everyone. Glad to see y'all get those wins.
Glad to see that new faces.
Well, thank you. Now I can honestly say that all of us that drive a Chromehorn Cattle Company car has got to win.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, with that, we're going to call it a night. I appreciate all you guys joining us live out there, watching the spotter stand, and we will see you guys on the track Wednesday night in the trucks at Homestead. Have a good one.
See ya.
See ya, everybody. Holla.
See ya.
Later.
Sound muted.